Welcome to episode 194 of the Campus Comics Cast. And now that DC and Marvel have lost the trademark to superhero, we may have to change the name of the podcast to the Campus Comics Superhero Cast. I'm Scott Reed, and I'm joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison
and Shad Schubert.
And in case you missed it, this was an announcement that came, looks like it started around September 26th, but the U.S. Trademark Office canceled Marvel and DC's superhero trademark. Now, Marvel and DC have had a joint trademark dating back, I think the article said all the way back to 1967, which was the oldest one. And Mike, you said you had kind of read through this, and what did you see was what kind of instigated this ruling?
Well, Shad mentioned it first, but I picked up on what he said and looked and said it was DC that was offended when they seen that this Super Babies in some way, shape, or form used the term superhero, and they threatened legal action. So DC had to stir the pot, apparently, and I'm sure Marvel's like, way to go, DC. Now we can't use that just ourselves, which, to be honest, this is categorized as the news you didn't think you needed to know. You know, I mean, I had no clue that this was a trademarked term. It's just amazing to me the things that get trademarked. You know,
right? Absolutely.
Well, I did realize that was a trademark term, we were kind of having this discussion before we started recording. It's like, it's kind of silly, some of the words that get trademarked. You know, we were talking about Super Bowl. It's like, what's so magical about those two words together that a person can't, at their home, say they want to have a Super Bowl party, you know, and you even cannot have, like, there's limits to the number of people you can have over into your house to watch the Super Bowl, and that's all because of this. Yes, technically. Now, they're obviously not going house to house and counting.
They're not policing
yes, but that's why you'll see, like, signs, like in our area, you have these churches that want to have some type of get-together on that Sunday, so they'll call it a soup, S-O-U-P, or bowl, B-O-W-L, so they're having like a meal, so they'll call it a soup or bowl, and just to get her skirt that whole Super Bowl type of deal. And this is what's apparently been happening with Marvel and DC for quite a while now. I guess they were the big players, so they felt like they needed to own the name superhero. Now, I was not familiar with Super Babies, and I was sitting here thinking, what comic book is called Super Babies? But apparently I'm seeing that it's actually for a movie. So there was a series of movies called Super Babies, and I may be incorrect because this is all just kind of we decided we're going to talk about this like 2 minutes before we started recording. So it looks like it's for this Super Babies movie franchise is what it actually is. Well, no, it says at the comic book artist R.J. Richhold, so maybe it's not the Super Babies movie. So I don't know.
He's based out of the UK, it seems.
Okay. Let me see if I can find any information out about this guy. I don't.
He's also a lawyer. No, I don't.
Oh, really? So.
They messed with the wrong artist.
Yeah. And I hate that on searches on website you can no longer put things in quotation marks, and it will, just search for that phrase. So anyway, the point is across, right? So you now can apparently use the phrase superhero because that trademark is no longer in existence. But what we actually are here to talk about are the pre-orders for October of 2024 for items that are generally shipping in December of 2024. So out or about, we're talking about Christmas time. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, man, I know.
So let's jump into next phase. We've got Ahoy They have a new book out called Archaic. So it's the first comic from acclaimed novelist Melissa Olson. Do we know who Melissa Olson is?
Yeah, she's on Little House on the Prairie.
I think that's a different, and I suspect that the name is spelled differently. I think that's an S-E-N,
Why would
and this is an S-O-N.
really?
I,
Okay,
yeah, I don't know.
could
So
be,
anyway,
could be.
you've got you got someone fleeing to a mysterious island of Demon Day, Demond, a place of demons. I guess you could get that from the name of the island.
Right.
So it's going to be well, they don't say how many issues. So we'll assume ongoing until it's not, just like Project Cryptid was from Ahoy.
Yeah.
Anything else from Ahoy?
No,
I
I don't
think so.
have
My first
yeah.
thing's in DC.
Oh, your first thing's in DC. All right. So, well, I'm going to scan through here real quick. I should go ahead and start talking about DC. And I am the person who failed to do their homework this time, so I may be playing catch up as you start into DC. So, let's, Mike, you have something before DC?
I will say one thing about it's under Ahoy, of course, but it's Wrong Earth, Dead Ringers #5, because as Shad mentioned last episode or last previous episode, we tend to just mention this franchise every episode that we do it. So it's the final issue of this series or this mini series under the Wrong Earth title, under the Dead Ringers. And it just makes me wonder what's next. I do have all of those out. I've started my read of all of the Wrong Earth comics in sequential order. So maybe one of these days on our next What We've Been Reading episode, we can talk about that.
All right. So, into DC. What do we got in
I'm
DC?
I'm a little bit further in. I'm not until page 59. I don't know where you're at.
I am, if you, it's page 6 on the DC by itself, but page 49. So
I do want to mention that they have on the cover for DC The New Gods, written by
Yeah.
Ram V. I think this was teased or solicited last month,
I think so.
but yeah, it's not the first page, it's not the second page, it's not the third page, it's not the fourth page, it's not the fifth page. So it made the cover, but they're not in a big hurry to talk about it
Yeah, it
until
made it all the way
until
down to page 6.
Yeah, they talk about all the other all-in books prior to getting to New Gods. So go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I marked it down because it's been a minute since we've had a New Gods title. And it's always, of course, this was an idea that was conceived by King Kirby back in the 70s, right after he left Marvel and came to DC. And it has, even though a lot of those titles didn't go very deep or very long, it was the concept definitely had staying power, and DC has capitalized on some of the bigger names like Mr. Miracle, Darkseid, Orion, Big Barda, characters like that. So it's sort of on the fringes of the DC universe. They use them when they think, with the universe proper, when they think it'll be beneficial or interesting. And I think Ram V is going to be a good writer for this. Anything in the Fourth World is very intriguing. The idea that, Scott, we've talked before about how the difference between DC and Marvel when it comes to universes is that Marvel has this, well, one universe begins and ends and then dies, and then you got the next universe, and so forth and so on. DC has the parallel universe theory or concept, and it's almost like with the New Gods, that falls more into the Marvel concept because they didn't come around until the old gods all died. And so the premise for this series, or at least the beginning of it, is that one of the old gods has died, small g god. So yeah, I'm definitely in. Well, as they say, I'm all in.
No pun intended from DC, right?
Right, last minute pun there.
Well, and any time in DC that they need a universe-threatening villain, most of the time Darkseid is the first one that they go to for that. So they keep going back to that well. And
Yeah.
hopefully, when I saw that initial cover, it immediately reminded me of the Eternals. I thought, my gosh, is Assad Ribic doing the art on this New Gods? Because they showed one of the variants. It was the Woods variant cover, and just at a glance, it kind of elicited
Yeah, it
that
kind of does. Yeah.
that feeling that I got from that. Now it's obviously not him, and when you take a closer look, there's a definite difference in art style, but it just had that. Maybe it's more the coloring to it or something, but yeah, I'm 100%. I've read the complete Fourth World, those trades, that curve that they released for Kirby,
Hmm.
and it's definitely a concept that they've gone to the well to multiple times. So
Yeah. And it's Kirby wasn't. I mean, his real claim to fame was his art and his ideas,
mhm.
probably more so even than his art. But his scripting wasn't always. It wasn't the same as Stan's, and it kind of showed sometimes in those fourth world titles. So we go through the
I'm
Action
just I'm
Comics.
just gonna leave that slight against Kirby alone. I'm just gonna let it slide, Mike. I'm not gonna
Oh
challenge you on
well,
it right now. So
okay, okay. Well, I, I wouldn't. I'm all up for a debate on that.
I got page 11,
Go for
Yeah,
which it.
is 50,
that's
which is
that's
54 in the next phase catalog.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
All right. So speaking of Kirby, they also are having a new Challengers of the Unknown series, which I believe was also a Kirby creation, and in fact
It
was
was.
probably what was one of the bigger influences for the Fantastic Four, the idea of the explorers going out there. So this is actually
Hmm.
going to be. So we have a new Challengers of the Unknown. It's also an all-in book written by Christopher Cantwell, who normally puts in some pretty solid work. So this is something. Now it's kind of odd to me that we've got, it almost looks like the Justice League on the cover because we got Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman plus the challengers. And I'm trying to figure. There's usually only four challengers, right? I thought.
Yeah, June didn't always get to be counted as one of the four.
Okay.
That was just one of those 1960s misogynistic things.
Okay.
Yeah, she was a sort of a bit player or a supporting role.
She was the secretary like Wonder Woman when she joined the
Yeah,
Justice League, right? So okay.
yeah, I guess yeah. But yeah, you're right. There's you got the Trinity on the cover with the
Hmm.
Chows, and I'm sure that's deliberate. It's interesting. I don't know if it's the lighting that's meant to make their costumes look purplish like the Challengers, or if it's really by design. I'm going to say the latter. I think this is their special. Hey, let's get in our Challengers
Hmm.
uniforms,
Yes.
guys.
Or maybe the challengers made costumes for them. So
Yeah, right. Hey, would you guys like to come over and? Well, actually, it appears not to steal what you were saying there, Scott. So I'll back off if you had more to say.
no, nope.
But I was just going to say in this blurb here, it talks about the challengers are sort of in charge of day-to-day operations for the Watchtower base. So
Okay.
they're as a that's one of again like I mentioned last time. I'm liking this about the Justice League Unlimited because you've got it's just the bigger, it's just a larger group of people, and people have roles to play, whether it be recruitment or security, or in this case, day to day operations. So I think that's kind of a cool thing.
All right. Did everybody order Batgirl #1? Just asking.
Yeah, sure
Okay.
did.
Because #2 is
Oh,
solicited. So no, I was just asking if you ordered it. Chad, we didn't say we were going to read it or anything. I just was curious if.
I was like, oh, I did.
But we are supposed to read Minor Arcana, right? For an upcoming episode. That was that Jeff
Maybe.
Lemire issue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think said we all were going to do that. So.
Yep,
Yes.
I just
have
I
read
just
it.
did read it. In fact, yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I'll get mine soon. So. All right. What else we got in DC?
Well,
on
I've got page 62.
16 or 59. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Batman Dark Patterns #1. This is a 4-issue miniseries that is going to cover a different case in every issue, and it seems like they're going to be very much darker, like detective stories. that are one shots, which I always love Batman as the detective, and not having these sprawled out mysteries that go on forever, a la a Rom V's Detective Comics, uh, wonderful 80 issue, whatever. This will be kind of one-offs that we're dealing with somebody that may be a serial killer in there. So I definitely like the darkness
Mm-hmm.
that Dark Patterns is bringing to this one.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
My next one is on
And
66.
Okay.
I'm on 62, and that is JSA number 2. And the reason I bring it up, because usually, you know how it is, we either primarily talk about first issues or a special one shot or something. But in this case, I am pretty sure that it's this cover, which features Jade and Obsidian, which are twins. They are the children of Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and they it's an homage to All Star Squadron number 1. If we compare the two images, which of course people can't see it here, but I encourage you to take a look. And it might be a bit loose of an homage, but it's the first thing I thought of. If you've got the photographs or the images on the table, you got images of Justice Society members on the wall, and it looks like they're trying to decide who's going to be members of this new, incarnation of the Justice Society.
I feel like that Lemire variant cover was in last month's catalog as a
Yeah,
variant for JSA 1, so I guess maybe that got delayed here, so it's going to be the variant for issue number 2, unless it's just a mistake in the catalog too. So
He's just doing the same thing for every. He's doing a Lemire variant that's the exact same one for every issue.
oh, really? So it's one variant that's going to
No,
be
I'm
used
just
for.
I'm just messing with
Oh,
you.
okay.
well, we
Well,
know you're on
they're just gonna
speaking
change it
terms
from
with
issue
him.
one
Maybe,
to
yeah, we
issue
thought
two,
maybe,
and
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe he announced that on his Substack or something. You follow his Substack though, right?
Yeah, I do. That would be
Yeah,
weird
okay.
though if he was like,
Okay.
it's the same cover every month.
Oh, okay. Man, you got me. You got me.
Love it. I did not know that was a character named Obsidian. I didn't know that existed. I thought that was Blue Beetle.
Oh.
Yep. Nope. Nope. He's a
What,
yeah. He
Infinity
goes
Inc., right?
Infinity Incorporated
Yeah.
back in
Okay.
the early '80s.
Really
They were
cool.
all the either sons, daughters, proteges, etc. of
Ah.
the Justice Society. They were all legacy characters.
Roy Thomas
And
creation.
Roy Thomas he created all of them. I don't know who the co-creators were, if any. Might have been Rich Buckler, some of them. I'm not sure, but yeah, that first story arc with them was pretty cool.
I think somebody said 66, right?
Yes.
No.
I said
Yeah, okay.
66.
All right.
66 is the Green Lantern Green Arrow World's Finest Special number 1. It's a one shot with Green Arrow and Green Lantern. Go figure. I always like, I don't know who doesn't like the two of them together. They've done so many different, series and whatnot. And this is just a nice one shot tale that I don't know why it says in the not too distant past. To know, I don't keep up with the characters enough to know what happened in current times to where the story has to be told in the past necessarily, but
Well,
I'm down to read it.
I think that is the model for the world. Anything with the world's finest title
Okay.
or subtitle is that it's not meant to be in current continuity. And
Oh, okay.
even though Jeremy Adams is the writer and not Mark Waid, my guess is that's what they're doing there, and they want to tell stories that can't be, can't be identified as being, somewhere exactly in,
Right.
In the grand scheme of continuity.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I had it earmarked as well, Shad, by the way, because I'm just it's like Coke versus Pepsi, Marvel versus DC. Is it Green Arrow with a hood or a hat? So people fall into two camps. I'm definitely the hat person. I'm a hat guy, even though it doesn't make sense unless he's got something holding it on. Maybe he's got little
Yeah.
bobby pins in there. I don't know, but
I
it
enjoy the
definitely
hat
has
better
better.
too. I agree.
I think it looks way better, and
Yeah.
my statue has the hat too. So I do want to roll back here just to page 64. Metamorpho, the Element Man. I don't know if this is the first time or not that Al Ewing has dipped his toes at DC into a DC character, but it's called Metamorpho, the Element Man. I don't know if it's ongoing. It doesn't say it's limited, but got art and cover by Steve Lieber, who's also very good. And Metamorpho is another one of those characters that a lot can be done with him. There's a lot of quirky, supporting characters like Simon Stagg and Java, his assistant, who's head over heels in love with Simon's daughter. Gosh, I forgot her name, but anyway, she and Rex Mason, Metamorpho, have been an item since day one. But yeah, I could see Al Ewing doing some good things with this book.
As long as it doesn't get renamed Immortal Metamorpho, then it hopefully will be okay.
Yeah,
At least maybe it'll end better, So
right.
I just want to mention on page 68, which is 25 in the DC catalog, we have the second issue of The Question All Along the Watchtower. It wasn't real clear in the solicit last month whether this was an ongoing or a one-shot, so we're getting a second issue, so clearly it is an ongoing story that we're getting for Renee Montoya as The Question. So
That would be good.
Yep.
I didn't really have it marked down, but now that we're kind of there on page 69 of the Lunar catalog, you've got the third issues of the DC Horror Presents. Now, this isn't really up my alley so much, but I know, Shad, you like horror. I just wondered if this is something you're picking up, the main title,
not.
and yeah.
I do think that I would. I definitely would read this afterwards, like maybe on the app or something. It is interesting to me, but definitely not. Wasn't something that was like, oh, I've got to read it now. I noticed that my taste has kind of. I believe that these are all kind of one shots and anthologies, and I've noticed that my tastes are kind of going away from anthologies as much and more into continuous stories.
Right. Yeah, I think you can do anthologies. Sound great when you haven't had one for a long time. You're like, oh man, I love anthologies. And then after a while, like, I'm ready to sink my vampire teeth into something
a little bit more substantial. Yeah, a little more substantial.
Right. And that's where I know it's completely off topic, but we've had Creep Show and the Shock. Is it Shock Shack or Shock Shop? Yeah. I got to tell you, Shock Shop is, I didn't start reading it until you mentioned it last time, or time before maybe. Man, that is great. That is fantastic. I love it. It's got like the flip book thing. It's much better than Creep Show, I think. It's just, it's Cullen Bunn, I think, is doing all the writing on both. It's just two stories in the same book, and they ran like 4 or 5 issues, and I dug the stories. And I'm not necessarily the big horror person, so yeah. Hats off to them on that.
I'm on 75.
Okay.
So just mentioning, the last few months we've been like, is there still a Black Label? It's like, oh yeah, it's up in the table of contents. They finally put Black Label on the page. So in addition to having the black background, to kind of differentiate it, they actually do put Black Label on the page. So it looks like we still have at least 5 Black Label books coming out in December.
That's because I emailed our podcast link to the editors at DC, Scott,
okay,
and they listened.
I thought you maybe threatened them with, we were going to change our name to the Superhero Podcast, and the settlement was they got to start putting Black Label back on the page.
Right.
That's what I was leaning towards. But
I like that, yeah.
What do I know? So
yeah, that would have been. I'm not smart enough to think of stuff like that. Plus, I'm a little bit too scared. They'll be like, "Well, we'll just sue the."
Yeah, and we'll take your house too.
Yeah, we'll take your house and your podcast, buddy.
I'm on 78/35.
Well, while we are on that Black Label, I have purchased the first few issues of Nice House by the Sea. So I haven't read any of them yet, but as much as I like the first one, I know that we got mixed reviews on it, but I'm interested to see if for one thing, I think the one weak point was it was hard to recognize or understand who all the characters were because there were so many, and the artwork didn't help. So
Right.
hopefully this will be a little easier in that regard.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna try. I picked up a Department of Truth trade from somebody recently,
Mm,
and I
okay.
think I'm going to read that Department of Truth trade. Man, that's difficult to say. And if it's not any good, I'm done with Tanyan. So
Well, if it's not any good, you can ask for a refund.
yeah.
From that guy that gave it to you.
All right, I'm still on 78.
You can
Go
go
for it.
right ahead.
Okay, so Batman and Scooby Doo Mysteries, issue number 12. I've not been buying this. This is the final issue of this series. But what is interesting is on the cover we have Phantasm. For fans of the
Hmm.
cartoon, we got Mask of the Phantasm here in this final episode or issue
Mm,
of Scooby Doo Mysteries. So,
I thought that was Doctor Doom.
oh,
No.
no, no. And let's see. Oh, hey, I'm glad that DC listened to our podcast on the first 5 appearances of Zatanna, since we now have Mystic U Freshman Year Enchantments with the Zatanna cover. So,
Yes. Yes. Yep.
way to go.
They know what characters are hot
That's
and which
right.
ones are not.
I'm probably just about done with DC. What else do you two have for DC?
I'm all done with DC.
Done on DC?
I would recommend if I were to recommend in the collected editions any of the titles, it would be the Green Arrow Longbow Hunters. I've got the original books,
Oh
which
yeah.
I'll probably never part with, but
No.
that is a good story. It's a very good story, and it's if you don't have it or you don't want if you want to read it, with a physical copy, I would recommend getting this. It's
Mm-hmm.
only it's $40 for 544 pages, and it's all Mike Grell and
Mm-hmm.
Denny O'Neil writing, and Mike Grell and Dennis Cowan, Klaus Janson, Ed Hannigan art. So it's good stuff.
And this series is the reason why my Green Arrow has a hood.
Oh, okay, yeah, right,
I,
yeah.
I was gonna leave that discussion alone from earlier, and since you brought it up, I'm gonna just
Tastes
throw that
great,
in
less
there.
filling.
Yeah,
Tastes great.
I have that series. I got the first issue signed by Mike Grell. I got a Mike Grell sketch of Green Arrow. Of course, it's the Green Arrow from the Longbow Hunters, so he's got the hood. So there you go.
Fair
My
enough.
argument is always going to be peripheral vision suffers for the hoods.
Yeah.
Because
Uh,
real life physics makes a big difference for superhero comics.
it
Well,
does.
yeah, yes. All those Spider-Man issues where he shoots the web up into the sky, and you're like,
Yeah.
what's he hooking to? And Batman.
Yep.
Oh, I will say, back one page on page 82, the collected compact comics editions. I had brought it up last time we were
Hmm.
doing one of these shows, and I did order the Watchmen compact edition just because I was curious about it. And I
Oh,
am
okay.
happy to say that it is a very nice. It's about the size of like a paperback book. And I don't think that the artwork suffers at all. It's not too shrunken down. Very easy to read still. So I am pro DC Compact Comics Edition.
Well, Shad, your word goes a long way with us, so I may have to pick one. I have to just pick one of them that I don't have yet. Like, I don't have Superman Birthright, so maybe I can get that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
And they're cheap. They're $10. So
that's good.
All right. What else? We done with DC?
I'm
Well,
done.
I can talk. Yeah, I could talk DC till the cows come home. So we
Okay.
should probably move on.
All right. Yeah, I'm scrolling through, so just either of you,
I'm
whatever
on
you got.
130, which
That's
is right before 130 is right before Image. It is the FWC Floating World Comics. I've not heard of this place before at all, but they are soliciting Robot Todd #1, which got the cover
Mm.
of the
Yeah.
next phase book. And this is about a robot named Todd, go figure. And he is trying to get his memories back. And it's set in this like post-apocalyptic psychedelic magical world is what it says. And he's joined along with a fox and a mouse person, whatever that means, and some other friends on this journey to find his memories. And it is set in the world of a couple of books called The Wrenchies and It Will All Hurt, which I've never heard of whatsoever, but it is watercolored, and I do enjoy a watercolor comic sometimes. So this
Yeah.
might be a good one to check
So, I,
out.
so I guess is he gigantic, or is that just something they're playing around with on the cover with all the characters that are around him?
Well, I think
Because
at
you got,
least one of them is a mouse person. So I'm assuming
yeah,
that might be. I don't know if that's the weird-looking mouse with the cigarette hanging out of it, or if that's the small human,
mm-hmm,
or if it's the mouse that's there. It's hard to
yeah.
tell.
Because there's a
Um,
mouse up towards the character's right shoulder, but there's like a
right,
regular sized bird, a regular sized fox, or at least to scale. I
right.
yeah, I'm a little
I don't
confused
know.
there. I'm confused. So
We won't know until we find out.
that's right. So all right. So image, what's everybody got for image?
I've got a couple. 142's my first one, and as I scroll down, I'll tell you about it. I promise.
Dust to dust, issue number
Yes, dust to
one.
dust
Okay.
to dust by the illustrious J.G. Jones. He's the I guess he's the writer and artist. He's got assists on writing by someone named Phil Bram, who I don't know, and it's in their words, an unforgettable yarn of desperation, murder, and resilience in this beautiful hand painted story of Americana in the primal grip of brutality. So it's set in the Great Depression, and I don't think I can ever read or watch a movie about the Great Depression without get the feeling of the Grapes of Wrath. I love that book. I mean, it's one of those required reading books, especially in high school as required to read it. But I'm going to pick this up because it invokes that kind of feeling, and it's 8 issues, so I think it might be good.
All right.
Mine is I've got the next book that's on there, which is on page 151, Juvenile number 1. This is a 5
Mm.
issue miniseries. Story and art by Jesus Oriana, I believe. Maybe you say his name that way. And it is set in the future where a deadly virus kills everyone upon reaching adulthood. And so teenagers are confined to these medical facilities until this new patient arrives with a shocking secret revealed. I believe that the shocking secret, I feel like I read somewhere where it was telekinetic abilities, so some sort of superpowers essentially. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not normally, especially post COVID, not I don't love on the deadly virus kills everyone kind of story. To be honest with you, but this kind of telling adults telling lies to keep children in check kind of thing does really is an interesting thing, or this like kind of fear of what the unknown is. Little Monsters was kind of that way. That Jeff Lemire, Dustin Nguyen book was very much like these vampires were told a certain truth, and they find out that the adults lied, and that's not the truth at all. It's very much
Sounds
what's the
like
furthest place from here.
any Santa Claus story.
Absolutely, Santa Claus. So I do like that kind of story to figure out what the twist is of it,
Yeah.
because I mean it's kind of not to be in a weird kind of skeptical way, but that's kind of the world we live in, where we're told like these truths that are not necessarily true once the thing is revealed. And so I thought the premise was pretty interesting, and I dug the artwork on there as well. So I think I'll probably try this one out.
I've got page 167. It's Freddy the Fix. It's a one shot, and it's written by Garth Ennis, art by Mike Perkins. So there's two things right away that would make you say, yeah, that would be fun to pick up. It's definitely, by what I can tell by some of the art, the preview art, it's very violent. It's definitely body horror type violence and horror. It's got everything from where it's got all all the traditional monsters, but it's it, I don't know if anybody likes that kind of thing. I don't know that it would be for me, but it's got the right creators, I think, on it.
Yeah, it has a cool premise. I thought it had at least a decent kind of setup for it. I don't know anything about Ray Donovan, the show. I don't know. Have you guys
Hmm.
seen Ray Donovan?
No.
Is
Heard
that
of it,
kind
but
of
never
what that
watched it.
is, but like without monsters?
Oh, I don't
No
know.
idea. No clue.
But that's what it says. It's basically. I mean,
Okay.
it says the horror skewed intersection of The Boys and Ray Donovan. So
Okay.
interesting. But it's a one shot, so you're only in for eight
Yeah.
bucks, and one of us should buy it so we can find out.
I nominate you, Mike.
Absolutely. Well, in other one shots, right before that is Dread the Halls one shot, and
Hmm.
this comes off as just it's another set of anthology of horror, Christmas related and whatnot, since it's coming out in December. But then I turned to the page and I looked at the artwork of the two stories that they tell in this, and both of them look fantastic in their own ways, at least for what I like out of artwork in a comic. So this might be one I'll check out based solely on the artwork and not on the fact that it's a horror anthology about Christmas at all. Because like I said, I'm kind of over anthologies as much, but the artwork looks really good.
Yeah. Yep. I'm down
And
to.
the
I
last
don't have
one,
anything till
Image.
204.
I'm at
Okay, I
242.
got
So
172 is the Mother Effin' Monsters. The
I knew you were
Horizon
gonna pull
Experiment
that up.
one-shot. Listen, I was not.
I
was
saw
actually
I
gonna
saw that
bypass it.
title. Yeah, I saw that title. And I thought it was going to be a Kyle Starks book, but it wasn't. So I was
Yeah,
surprised
right.
there.
That would sound right. Yeah.
But more than anything, it's advertised as Evil Dead for Blurs, which I love. But also, it actually tells you finally in this solicit what the Horizon Experiment is. This is the third one shot we've gotten off of this subtitle of the Horizon Experiment, and evidently it's Pornsak Pashot has gotten together with a bunch of different creators to just give a spot for different people that don't necessarily marginalized people to be able to contribute to this kind of idea, which is the Horizon Experiment. And so there's going to be a total of 5 one-shots that are all have a connecting character, I guess, or a connecting kind of story plot throughout them. And I don't know why, or maybe I missed it, but I read the other two solicits pretty thoroughly. I thought this is the first time they've actually said, here's what this is about, and we're halfway through the books that are coming out under that umbrella.
Oh. Well, I'd say the interior art is much different than the covers. The cover was like, oh, that's
Yes, it is.
that's a nice cover, and then it goes to the more cartoony style, which I won't say anything bad about because I've read some good stories that are cartoony.
Right. Absolutely. And I'm not till
So-
282.
Okay, I should have been scrolling while you were talking, but now I'm doing it. But on page 204, we have Geiger number 9. And the reason I'm bringing it up on issue 9, you might ask, is because I started reading. I actually read my collection of the first, volume of Geiger, and I liked it very much. I, the same kind of writing and art that you would expect from Jeff Johns, and well, at least in the first in the trade that I have, it was all Gary Frank, but it looks like in subsequent issues they've gotten different artists involved, Paul Pelletier and Andrew Hennessy and so forth. But it's when I see this character, it just right away I thought, well, this is like quality comics human bomb in modern, in a modern time where they've, he basically has to control his radioactive powers and he blows stuff up. So, but it's good. It's very good.
Nice.
Anybody got anything for 242?
223, and it's
Okay.
on the same page. And I don't want to give away too much, but 223 has Redcoat number 8. And if I thought Geiger was good, Redcoat's even better. It's basically Redcoat is one of these characters in this whole Ghost Machine universe, and his his thing is he's immortal. He gained immortality by total accident, right around the Revolutionary War, as you can tell by his clothing and the name of the title. And he goes through time, and he's all the way. He has all these adventures. He's not exactly a very honorable person, so he's kind of got that John Constantine thing appeal to him because he's really out for himself. But it's a lot of fun. It's been a whole lot of fun to read. I've read the first like 4 issues of it. So I'm pretty impressed so far with Ghost Machine.
Nice.
242?
Go for it.
All right. So I'm only mentioning this World Tree number 12. Um, this is another James Tynion, the fourth book. We actually did a review of the first volume back on episode 185. But what we're going to get here, I guess, is the origin of Fear, which is Sammy, who is initially the main character's sister in the first story, who is the one that kind of starts all of the events that are happening inside of World Tree. So if you want to know a little bit more background about that character, pick up issue number 12 of World Tree.
Are you caught up on it, or
I am not. I have not. I've not. I have all the issues.
Mm-hmm.
I just have not read them yet. So
I've read
other
through
than
9.
the first 6, I've read the first 6 that we did for the podcast, and then I haven't read anything since then.
Yeah. Okay.
Which I need to do soon because I need to decide if I want to keep ordering it or not. So
Right.
I will probably. I guess I'm going to at least issue 12 is the way it looks right now. So
Right.
and I've said that before and still haven't read them. So I'm still looking for my next
282.
thing. All right, you're before me for sure. So
Go ahead, Shed.
On
Yeah.
282 is from Paper Cuts is Disney Atlantis: The Lost Kingdom classic graphic novel. This is never one that I thought they were going to do an adaptation for. But Atlantis: The Lost Empire came out when I was a kid, an older kid, but a kid nonetheless. And so I always loved the idea of the lost city of Atlantis. And this movie definitely captured that. And so seeing it adapted into a graphic novel with a Mike Mignola cover is definitely pretty cool. I think that would be something that I would want to see on my shelf just for the little nostalgia of it, for sure. And on the same page, they've got a Sword in the Stone graphic novel, which is obviously telling their graphic novel version of Sword in the Stone adaptation.
Yeah, Atlantis is just one of those. It's just great fodder or great material for so many different types of stories. And
Right. Mm-hmm.
yeah, now that you've mentioned this, I'm interested in maybe getting it. It's in that smaller size. Did you mention that?
I didn't mention the size of it, no.
Yeah, it's like 6.5 by 9, so it's like kind of like
Yeah,
the minis or whatever. Yeah,
right, exactly.
cool.
And I'm done with
303.
this one.
Okay, I got 303. Mike, anything before 303?
No, I do not, sir.
Okay, so I'm actually mentioning this not because of what it actually is. We have Tripwire, the genre magazine, which is issue number 63. However, what they are celebrating in this issue is the 60th anniversary of Daredevil. So I guess I had just not really thought about that. So 60 years of Daredevil in 2024. So there you go. And at that point, I'm done. That was the end of the catalog. Anything we missed for anybody? for next phase?
Not for me.
Yes, sorry, I was on mute. I was sitting here saying yes, yes, yes. And,
Oh, okay.
oh, you hear me? Um, I forgot I'd written down in the corner of my scribbles here, way back at CEX, and this is on like page 30, 31 or so. It's just an interesting thing. It's the Quarrel, and it's basically, it looks like it features a red-tailed hawk who's hunting an oriole through New York Central Park. It's apparently like a one-shot, but I think the art is really good, and I don't know, something about it is I don't know how, obviously, unless they make these anthropomorphic where they can talk, but it appears in the preview pages that they can't talk. So be interesting how well they tell the story without any dialogue. Oh, and I'm sorry, very next page, Clover Press, is Michael Turner's, or Marvel Art of Michael Turner. Now, this is like the third volume of different famous artists, the work they did at Marvel. But anybody that likes Michael Turner, which I always did, this is a book that you can put on your shelf and be proud of. And Scott, if you remember, the cover to this volume, this hardcover here, that is the one Marvel T-shirt that I have. That image.
Oh, okay.
That is. I remember you saying, Mike, you got a Marvel shirt. And I said, yeah, I always like this image. It's got Cap holding the shield, and he's kind of got his head bowed, and got the rest of the Avengers and Fantastic Four kind of behind him. But yeah, I really like that image, and I like Michael Turner. I liked him. Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Nope. All right, on to Marvel.
Nope.
Okay, so don't have a page number for this, but felt the need to mock it. We have Time Slide #1. So now I have this memory when the most recent reboot of the X-Men, which has only been 2 or 3 months ago, the editor was saying, okay, we're staying away from Cable, we're staying away from Bishop, we're not going to do any time travel stories, it's too confusing for the reader, and this month we get Time Slide #1, which is about Cable and Bishop. All right. Not only do we have issue #1 about Cable and Bishop, but we also have this wonderful Rob Liefeld cover, and the wonderful is in air quotes, because once again we have no feet. Once again, we have an incredibly disproportionate chest, a la the Captain America issue. If you look at like his left leg, it's like 50% bigger than the right leg, and the angle that it's at, it should actually be a little bit smaller. So like everything's stretched and
He's got a little pinhead.
Yeah, it's just it's pretty bad.
You can take the artist out of the '90s, but you can't take the '90s out of the artist.
but this is a hidden gem variant cover. So
we'll see.
That
about
gem
that.
should have stayed hidden.
It's a lump of coal.
There
Scott
you go.
says.
Well, and not only are they bringing the characters in, but they are evidently kicking off the unforgettable stories of 2025 that are going to be happening.
25. Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And it's not too much later in this catalog. I don't know how far you guys are in, but it's like on page 12 of the Marvel catalog. You've got the TVA, the Time Variant Authority, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you got a 5-issue series.
Time Variance Authority, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Variance Authority. Yeah, so by people I don't know, well, Perez does kind of look familiar, but it's another timey-wimey thing, clearly, by the title. But I'm getting it, because I think I just want to learn. I want to understand these things. Maybe I can watch the next, Loki and understand some of it without getting a headache.
Well, I'd say
I don't
that
know.
this is come about because of the Loki series, not the other way
Right.
around. Now, the TVA existed pre-Loki, but
Right.
it wasn't quite like it is in the show. So I see that they're bringing in characters like Peggy Carter, who is the Captain America, like in the What Ifs, and then obviously they have
Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, or however you want to refer to her. So they have all of like the variants. I assume we'll see some Miles Morales at some point in here as well. But it's tough to say.
It definitely seems like it's spinning off of the cinematic universe, TV universe for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's
which
clearly
is always
Even the woman, the very broad-chested woman. I remember her being a character in the TV show. I forgot her name,
yes,
but
yeah. And
yeah.
Owen Wilson is in there, whatever his character is.
yeah. They kind of changed Mobius and Mobius's look to be more like Owen Wilson, and they got Miss
yeah.
Minutes and
Right.
oh gosh, I forgot what the female Loki variant's name was in the Loki series. It wasn't Sylph, was it?
Oh yeah, I
Loretta.
can't remember either.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's all right there. They had the Short Rounds character, is there on the cover as well. So
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean
okay.
that seems to be. I don't know how I feel about it. If the cinematic universe driving the comics, and I'm sure there's a place for it, and where that can kind of live, kind of in the same way that Star Wars is a spin-off of the movies, and they seem to be pretty true to that now. And we also have the Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is the prequel to the prequel cartoon that's coming out it's the prequel to the prequel. That's going to be on Disney Plus, I guess, sometime soon. So this is, I guess, setting up Peter Parker's freshman year on that. So yeah, it almost seems like they need their own little banner or some little section to say like, hey, here's the stuff that actually crosses over with what exists on the screen also, which would be not a bad idea.
No, the only I would love it if they would say this is an MCU story and this is a 616 story,
Yeah.
and this is a what if story,
Right.
And the reason why they will never do that is because if I saw this is an MCU comic book, I'm not buying it because to me it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
Whereas if they leave it a little questionable, it's like, well, maybe they'll get a little bit more people to
Yeah.
actually pick it up. So that's my conspiracy theory there for you, but do with that what you please.
Al
Marvel
Ewing's got
does-
the all new Venom and not Immortal Venom.
Not the Immortal Venom.
in the
Okay.
Yeah, he's trying something different, using that all new banner. I've never seen that before. So
From Al Ewing, anyway. All news,
No,
good use all
it
the
was a joke.
time. Oh, okay, all right.
yeah, it was.
And then, of course, they got
it
another.
was a joke. It just didn't land.
Yeah. Oh, and then we got another Infinity Watch #1 because we haven't had an Infinity Watch #1 in a while. And we already talked about the TVA #1, and then we got Marvel Holiday Tales to Astonish #1, and Kidpool and Spider-Boy #1, and Helverine #1. Do you see a trend? Lots of number ones.
A lot of number
yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
Hell Hunters #1.
A handful of them are resolicits from last month that didn't actually come out. Like Helverine is
okay.
a last month one.
I thought
that,
so.
Yeah, I thought that sounded right. So
The only thing that's got me somewhat intrigued are some of these X-Men titles, because of the writers. You got Gail Simone on Uncanny, Jed McKay on X-Men, which is okay, but yeah, I'm. Where else is there anything? Any of those that are really jumping out at me? I'm not picking. I picked up. Oh, Mark Russell doing X Factor. Yeah, that's one.
again, if they had went with 2, 3, or 4 total X-Men books, I maybe could have gotten on board.
They just can't help themselves. They just can't help themselves.
Yeah, it's too many.
We got their attention. Hold their attention. Just bombard them, and then it burns out like a shooting star. And I'm like, I'm done with it. Although they definitely understand what Adam Hughes can do. They can make people buy. Oh, that's not Adam. Oh, yeah, it is. That's Adam Hughes. Yeah, people buy the Dazzler #4 because he had the cover. People will do that. Not Adam Hughes. Terry Dodson.
Oh,
My
okay.
bad. Yeah.
I'm on page 46.
37. Whoa, I went past it. I marked this down because, well, maybe not. It's not matching up with what my notes say. So
Oh, no.
you go right ahead.
Okay, well, on page 46, we have Werewolf by Night, Red Band #5. And I'm only actually mentioning this because I looked at this cover. I thought, oh, my gosh, that's the worst Incredible Hulk I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
But then, okay,
I did
he's
too at
actually
first.
he's mid-transformation. So it's actually a very jacked Bruce Banner turning into on his
Yeah.
right side, and I would never think that Bruce Banner would be that jacked to the Hulk on the left hand side,
It.
fighting Werewolf by Night. So yeah,
I
it's
don't
just
care what he was going for. It didn't land for me.
yeah, it's a mid transformation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm up to. I actually was looking at the wrong thing. It's actually page 62. So if you have anything before
Okay.
then.
I don't. So forget. Go ahead. If I have anything, I'll backtrack.
Okay. Page 62 is Captain America. This actually just ties back to you anyway, so I'll give you something to
Oh,
talk
okay.
about.
All right.
It's I think every third month or so I ask you, "Hey, how's your Captain America by
JMS.
JMS
Yeah.
doing?" Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I more so than even liking his writing, I love Jesus Saez's art. So anyway, I'm just curious as how this is going. If you've been keeping up, and
Yep.
one of these days I'm going to pick up some trades because I think they're good creators.
All right. Well, Mike, I will remind you that you are subscribing to the Marvel app, and you can read those on the Marvel app just without
Well,
having
that
to pick
would
up a trade.
okay. Just it's semantics. I
Oh, okay.
understand.
All
Yeah,
right.
trade app, whatever. But I'm saying, and if I ever get I've just down, you know how it is. You get, oh, I got to get that. So I downloaded all of the Fantastic Four, everything from like issue is something in the 40s all the way to the 80s, just because I want to really read all those Fantastic Fours in that really heyday of Lee and Kirby, and
Kirby, yeah.
but then I get it, and then the next shiny thing shows up, and it's sitting in my downloads,
Yep.
and then when I try to read it when I'm not on Wi-Fi, it's like, oh, your license has expired. I'm like,
Expired.
oh.
Going back to your question though, the Captain America is still solid. Once again, it's if you're a Captain America fan, it's not something that's going to cause you to leave the book. But it's not for somebody who's not a big Captain America fan. I don't feel like
Yeah.
it's really, it's not landing as well as JMS's run on like Thor did. That's for sure. So
Yeah.
but
Well,
this particular
yeah.
story arc with the New Warriors 3, I haven't gotten there yet. So
Okay.
that this is just part 3. So that was issues 14, 15, and 16. I think I'm up to issue 12. So I'm not quite caught up on Captain America right now,
Okay.
but I'm close. But it's been good. It's not been
Good.
great, but it's been good.
Good.
It's been what I'd call like that fine range 6.0. So.
Someday I'd like for us to go back and look at Jesus Saez's art on that Manhunter series where the female Manhunter, I forget her name, Kate something, but I can't remember who the writer was, but I think that's where I first got to know him as an artist and was so impressed. From like the early 2000s, mid 2000s. That's all I have for Marvel, fellas.
Let's see. I'm still flipping through
Same.
here myself. So, you didn't have any Star Wars book this time, Shad?
Nope. They're not doing anything cool right now.
Ah, okay.
They're just doing this weird like weekly battle of Jakku like thing, and they're playing them off like their own little 4-issue minis, but it's just a weekly Star Wars series.
Okay.
So I'll read it at some point.
You know,
or I won't.
Yeah. When I look at these omnibuses, and I always think, well, one of these days you just need to get rid of all your comics and just kind of like have some of these big omnibuy, and that can represent things, and because there's a lot of good stuff out there, whether I get them all read or not, they still look good on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we ready for the previews website?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I got to see. So all right. So Image is first. We've already talked about Image. So Boom. Anything here from Boom catching anybody's eye?
I got a boom.
You got a Boom? You got to go Boom?
I got a boom. Yep.
Does it rhyme? Was the book you're going to cover rhyme with Boom? No.
I
Okay.
don't think so.
Okay. All right. 'Cause then I one I had picked I can talk about whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Whenever
Cool.
you're
I
done.
mean, you could always talk about whatever you want, even if I was talking about it too. I'm curious now. No, I was wanting to talk about Jim Henson Presents #1. And this is
Oh.
forgive me for this, but it feels like it's going backwards on what I said earlier. A new anthology series from the world of Jim Henson. But it's I'm really excited about this. It reminds me of like those little comic digests I used to get as a kid, and with like the Disney afternoon stuff, where it's just like little short stories that kind of cover different shows. So it's going to cover Fraggle Rock. There's going to be Farscape stories. There's going to be Dark Crystal stories and Labyrinth stories, all within the issue. So I dig that.
Mm.
I don't know if it'll grab my attention on a monthly basis, since they are 4 different stories that I'll go through. I might wait to get it in the collected side, but I am super excited about this Jim Henson's Presents.
Excellent. You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
I have 2 things, but we're just doing round robin, right? So
For
Uh,
Boom, yeah, just whatever.
yeah, yeah. So Book of Cutter is it's basically on the 5th anniversary of James Tynan's House of Slaughter.
Something is killing the
Something
children.
is killing the children. It's the anniversary, and he's introducing this one shot that it's got the same. I mean, it's got him as on writing, and this Deladera does the art on, I think, on all the Something's Killing the Children books. But it's if you read these books, there's different houses. They all kind of have the same job, which is killing these monsters that can't be seen by adults unless you're trained to find them. Only children that have overactive imaginations can see them. And this one's basically the House of Cutter. So it's a one shot for $10, and I'll probably get it. And I haven't kept getting all of the issues of Something is Killing the Children. They had a was it Book of Slaughter, Book of something, but there's been some one shots before.
Also from Boom, we have In Bloom, and this sounds like a total ripoff of Last of Us, which is kind of funny that they actually mentioned this as for fans of Last of Us, because the idea is that, well, what if some of the bacteria and stuff in your body were to take over? So, yeah, that's kind of part of the premise of Last of Us, anyway. But so you got an In Bloom #1 coming out from Boom.
I I had this marked as well, and I was like, and that's why I asked Shad if the one he had rhymed with boom.
Right.
So, but you described it
Bloom.
very
I got
well.
you.
I'm
Yes.
Yeah, Bloom
Yeah.
and Boom. So,
Yep.
hey, so real quick, thumbs up, thumbs down, Book of Cutter, because it's a gem of the month.
Oh, thumbs up for me. Yeah.
Okay, Shad?
Probably a thumbs down right now. I don't know much about the whole world there.
Yeah, and I'm close to being done with Tanyan, so I'm a thumbs down as well. In Bloom, #1. Mike?
Thumbs down for me.
Yep. Shad?
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. All right, 3 thumbs downs. All right. Anybody want to talk about anything from Titan?
I got no Titans.
I gotta look at my tabs. I guess I don't. Not there.
All right, well, we got 2
Nope.
gems of the month. Conan the Barbarian 18, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Down. Down.
I'm going down as well. I hear, though, that if you're a Conan fan, it's good. I'm just not a big Conan fan myself. I'm just going to
Yeah.
preface this one as a thumbs down for me. Heatseeker Combustion Gun Honey Series #2. That's a definite thumbs down for me, even though it's a gem of the month.
Yeah, there's only 2 things that would cause me to buy that, and I'm not even gonna give the initials.
Yeah, I could fill in the blanks for you, but I'm not going to. So, all right. So we're moving down. Yeah, okay. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, and I assumed that
That's
was
fine,
your vote,
that's
Shad. I
fine.
didn't.
Yeah.
All right. Dynamite.
Dynamite.
DuckTales #2 is a gem of the month.
Yeah, that's not my thing. So down
Nope.
for me.
Chad, you're
Maybe
the only
at
one
some
who can vote
point.
thumbs up.
I'll vote thumbs up. I'm not gonna read it, but I'll vote thumbs up for it. I appreciate that they have the license and they're doing
DuckTales.
something with it. Yeah.
Thundercats #11 is also a gem of the month. I'm a thumbs down on that one. I never could get into Thundercats.
Yeah, me neither.
And me either.
Okay, all right. So anybody have anything they actually want to talk about from Dynamite?
I do. We have a return of a Gargoyles book, so I got to talk about it just in
Oh,
case
yeah.
anybody else was wondering where the Gargoyles license was hanging out. We have the Gargoyles Winter Special #1. It is that. There's not really much to talk about. It's called Bronx's Silent Night, I guess is the story. So if you like gargoyles, get it. If you don't, don't.
Get it. Don't. There you go.
Pretty simple.
That's right. The KISS philosophy. Keep it simple, stupid.
That's right.
All right. I don't have anything from Dynamite. Mike, you got anything from Dynamite?
I do not.
Okay. Anybody got any Diamond Select toys they want to talk about?
Well,
Nope.
Nope.
I,
Okay.
unless it was on the first row, no, because I didn't
No,
even
okay.
expand it.
All right. Okay. So, if anybody has anything, this is the biggest section here on the pull box is
Yeah.
the comics and graphic novels. So, we'll just go until somebody doesn't have anything to talk about. So,
Okay.
Mike, you want to go first?
I'll go with Nexus Scourge by Alien Books. It's still with Mike Barron after all these years, still putting out stories about Nexus. And I just got to say, it's just, I've only read maybe one. I've got an old Nexus book. I used to be able to get those for a dime a dozen, but the visual design of this character is just really what, to me, is what gets me. So, especially when you think about back when Steve Rude, was doing the art. So, it's a callback. It's only a 2-issue series, I think, if I remember, but this is the first of the 2 issues.
Shad?
I've got a book out of Distillery. It is an anthology. It's called Through the Boughs. I really the artwork from the A cover really grabbed me on this. It's weird, and I've seen this kind of art style before, but I can't tell you where. The cover is by Jen Ellie, but it's a Christmas one shot of short stories. A bunch of different names that some of them are familiar. James Tynion IV, Jim Campbell, and then a bunch of names that I haven't really heard before. But it looks weird, and weird is typically what I go for. So they won me over on that one.
Have you read Justice League the Weird?
I have not.
Well, if you like weird literally, there's
Well, you could even
an
go closer. There's just The Weird, which was that Bernie Wrightson.
That's what I mean.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah, it's just
features
just-
the Justice League. It's
but
I
it's
just
just
meant
The Weird, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
right. Hmm.
Who was did Wrightson write and draw that, or just draw that?
He might have done both.
Okay.
I don't know why you guys are talking. I can look it up.
Oh, that's okay. It's not that big of a deal. From Abrams Comics, we have the second volume of Frank Miller's Pandora. This is, of course, not anything. The character is created by Frank Miller, but this is actually written by Chris Silvestri, Anthony Marinville, art by Emma Kubert. So I have the first volume of Frank Miller's Pandora. Have I read it? No. But the second volume is now available, and I will probably still pick it up, even though I haven't read the first volume yet.
So I'm guessing that because didn't Frank Miller and Dan DiDio have a publishing company? Was it called Frank Miller Presents?
Yes, that's it. It's is this not Frank Miller's?
No, it's Abrams. You said, I think.
Oh, I did say that. Yeah. So
I
maybe
guess they
someone else is gonna print it. Yeah.
Are no longer.
Nope.
Just so you know, the Weird
Mm-hmm.
it was created by Jim Starlin and Bernie Wrightson.
Okay. All right. That's that. I will accept that answer.
Oh, I'm glad. I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight if you didn't accept it.
What you got next, Mike?
It's I may have even talked about this before the first volume, but it's there. It's in one of these PS art books. It's the Lou Fine, Reed Crandall, Black Condor, and it also includes some stories of the Ray. Now these are old quality comics heroes, but when you're talking about people like Reed Crandall and Lou Fine, wow, they did rival people like Joe Simon and Jack Kirby back in the 40s. So it looks good. I don't know that I'd spend the $53 that they want for it, but it was worth talking about. Somebody who wants to add it to their collection of quality hero books.
I've got a book from Dark Horse called "Those Not Afraid" #1. This is written by Kyle Starks and art
Oh,
by Patrick. Patrick P. We're gonna call him because I don't know how to pronounce that long name. But this is a really a very dark premise. Is that we have two serial killers who discover that they are within the reach of the state record for kills and enter a competition to see who can get there first. It is a series. I don't know how long it's going, but I was like, oh man, this is horrible, but I want to read it all at the same time. So kudos to Kyle Starks, I guess, for making a book that sounds absolutely horrible and intriguing all at the same time.
Well, Kyle Starks and Patrick Piazzalunga.
There you go.
Common spelling. Common
Good
spelling.
job, yeah.
I had to look it up.
I just want to mention because there's a Crow comic again, the third issue, Crow Dead Time number 3, as a public service announcement. Do not go see the movie; it's terrible.
Oh, really?
Is that what it says?
No,
Oh,
that's
you
what I'm
have.
saying. Yeah, that's
It's
my
yours.
public service announcements. Do not go see it; it's awful.
Gotcha.
Save your money. Of course, I think it's out of theaters now anyway, but
It is.
It's
I think
still
so. I
it's
think
still
ready for renting.
yes, fresh enough. Oh, and I'm sorry. Side note: I was disappointed to learn yesterday that Hellboy the Crooked Man in the U.S. did not get a distributor, so it's going straight to video on demand.
Oh wow.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
kidding me.
No, I was surprised because like I was actually kind of looking forward to that, and now I'm like, for example, the Joker releases this week, and I was definitely more excited about the Hellboy the Crooked Man than I am about Joker. So,
Right.
but
That's coming out this Friday.
yes,
Joker,
Yep.
yeah.
Yes. So if you're into a musical superhero show, the Joker is for you. So
I'm interested.
You th-
Tell me
what
more.
was?
well, so what happens is he's waiting. So the premise is he's awaiting incarceration inside of Arkham Asylum, where he meets one
Quinn.
Harley Quinn, right? And it's all basically I guess it's not all, but it's apparently a good portion of it, if not all of it, is done as a musical. So
I did not know that.
because he's crazy. So
It's in his mind, yeah.
that's right. So all right, Mike, what do you got next?
It's a book that I have wanted to pick up and still haven't. Now it's being solicited as a hardcover. Helen of Windhorn by the same creative team that gave us Supergirl, The Woman of Tomorrow, Tom King and Bilquis Evely, and the same colorist, Matthias Lopez. So I've heard some good. It's a 6-issue run that's all collected here for $30. So it's tempting. I don't know. Maybe I need to do some research before I buy it, or maybe I can get it, on Comixology. Either way, it's a good combo of creators.
Yeah, I need you to sell it to me. I read the first issue and was not overly.
Is that right?
But
Okay.
I think I could be swayed because I do love me some Bilquis Evely art.
Well, yeah. I mean, first I ever read of any art by her or seen any art by her was in the Supergirl series.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess yeah, I might get it, and then we can talk.
All right,
Oh, it's
Chad,
my
what do
turn.
you got
I
next?
forgot.
Yep.
I
No,
forgot the order.
You're up.
I've got Folk Tales of the Cryptids, Volume 1, coming out of Afterlight Comics. It is exactly what you think it is. It's Folk Tales of Cryptids. The cryptids that are covered in this is Mothman, the Chupacabra, the Pukuwiji, and the Moro Man. The Moro Man I've never heard of before, but we like cryptids from time to time in this show, and so I thought I'd bring it up.
All right. Mike, I'm actually going to mention this and then defer to you because you have I Lie Popeye #1. This is from that massive select. I guess this is a second Popeye series since we've got a number one. So I was kind of surprised that you
Ooh.
hadn't mentioned anything about it yet.
Well, there's so many comics in this section
Oh
that
yeah,
I
it's
tend
tough
to
to.
skim over sometimes. Let me do a quick
Yeah,
Popeye search, and I'm pretty sure we won't find too many of them. There's 11 hits. So
yeah,
yeah,
but
okay.
I
Well,
think there's
some of them are
11
variants. Yeah,
covers. Yeah,
right.
including the Acuna metal variant, which is a retail price of $79.99.
Oh,
So I
okay.
assume you'll be ordering that one.
Uh, assuming I will buy it at all. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I once in a while, as a novelty, I'll pick up a Popeye book because I'm from the home of Popeye, but I don't see anything here that's just going to, you know, just going to make me do it. I don't know.
All right, that's fine. So
Yeah.
all right, back to you then. What else you
Oh,
got?
well, before I even talk about the last thing I really have, I wanted to see if Shad is going to mention. This is one I thought Shad might pick up on. It's the Lincoln Park comic. Did you see that?
I did not see it, and I don't know if I would. It would fall under anything I'd be interested in at all. But you
Yeah.
don't have the book. I was gonna say, what page is it on?
Oh yeah, it's just it's under 10 ton press, but
All right.
it's one of those music comics, band comics. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if it's any good or not. Linkin Park has about 2 songs that I like. The rest it makes my hair stand on end. So
Oh yeah, I
yeah,
see it now. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that was my only comment about that. But my last one is Alter Ego number 192, and basically it's about 1950 superheroes, the ones, whenever it basically is saying if you thought there was a superhero shortage in the 50s, then you need to think again. So it covers a lot of those heroes that did kind of stay in publication in that time, and maybe some that you hadn't heard of. So I think it'd be an interesting read. And that's it for me.
They do have Super Dash Hero on there. Do you think that was because of the trademark?
Uh, well, it would predate the trademark.
Yeah,
So if
like
it was
that's what I'm wondering. Does
originally,
the dash get you around the trademark?
uh,
Because in that
Well, it's
article there
not
was no
trademarked
dash.
anymore. It's
that's right.
public domain now, so it doesn't
Well,
matter.
I
But
guess it's
this
just
was
back to being
before,
part of the regular English language. So
That's
I
good.
guess.
Thank goodness.
no
Thank
kidding.
goodness. I actually only have one left as well. I have the Chris Moulds' The War of the Worlds graphic novel. It's a hardcover
Mm.
adaptation of H.G. Wells' famous sci-fi novel. I find that there are a bunch of books that I enjoy the idea of reading, but I really enjoy the idea of a graphic novel adaptation instead.
So nobody's gonna get this cocaine poo T-shirt from Antarctic Press.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about. I don't remember seeing the shirt, but I remember cocaine poo sticking out. Uh,
So
no pun
it's an
intended on that
apparel.
either.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So that's in the apparel section for those of you. I assume it's a cocaine bear, um, uh, yeah, satire. But since also
Wait,
in the
it's
public domain, Winnie the Pooh.
You can do whatever you want with it,
That's
including
right.
make a cocaine poo
ah,
shirt.
Pooh. Yep.
oh bother.
I guess I am done. I'm actually scrolling through the toys, which I'm not really for sure why. I'm done with the comics. I need to get down to the games, make sure there's not any games that I should suggest. Let me get down there real quick. Oh, that's collectibles and novelty. That's not the games. Here's the game section. So what do we got here? Just a bunch of regular RPG stuff. Oh, there's another. Last time we talked about some of those escape room type games that they had done with Clue. There are two more solicited this month: Clue Escape the Illusionists and Clue Escape the World's Fair. For anybody who likes the escape room style
Mm.
game, those are kind of fun. And I don't see any of these others just jumping out at
Is
me.
DC Forever deck building game new? Is that a new
Uh,
idea?
well, there's a DC deck building game that's been around for several years now from Cryptozoic, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Does it say it's from Cryptozoic?
No, it's WizKids / NECA,
Oh,
NECA,
okay, yeah. So I guess this is maybe just a different use of the license.
maybe.
So the DC deck builder from gosh, I'm looking at a bunch of games and I'm trying to find where my DC deck builder is to see who actually publishes it. Oh, yeah, it's the DC deck builder game that I know is from Cryptozoic, and the first
Okay,
base game is really fun. It does take a minimum of 2 players though. It's not something you can play solo.
I see.
But so I can't say one way or the other about this other one. So yep, I think I'm
Okay.
done as well. So all right,
Okay.
Shad. So what do we have coming up on episode 195?
Well, on 195, we're going to be covering the first 5 of Concrete, as well as what we've been reading.
All right, and Mike, if somebody wanted to reach out to you besides podcasts at birdcomics.com, how might they do that?
Well, by email, it would be mike@comicshoproadshow.com or on X at Mike Atchison5. And also Blue Sky, which I sometimes forget to mention, but I do have a Blue Sky account that I check once in a while. And it's just, you just look for Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow. There is no like handle like Twitter or X. You just put in Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow and you should find me. Because I doubt there's 2 of us.
And speaking of the roadshow, anything recent?
Uh, boy, I hate when you do this because I always have in my mind what I'm working on, not what I just put out. Or,
Oh,
so yeah, I can talk about what has just been put out there. It's the episode 22, Eastgate Comics, and Fantastic Four number 52, the first appearance of Black Panther, and I'm furiously working on the next episode that is, I'm not going to obviously give away what we're talking about, but it is a shop in Salt Lake City, Utah called Black Cat Comics.
okay. Shad, what about you?
You can find me at shadschubert.com. That's SHAADSCHUBERT.com. And all I can say is check out some music from Shad and Thomas. The links are on there. Everything else is quiet at the moment. I'm working on writing and recording.
And I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at burgcomics.com, BURGcomics.com, with links to my social media pages and eBay store. And we'll be back soon with episode 195.
If I have to go to the bathroom, do you want a high sign for me or timeout sign or just go, man. Just go. You got a bottle right there. Yeah, just finish this bottle and refill it. Just go. Yeah. Just keep it below the table. I was gonna say I can hear the recording now. Oh man! What are you doing, Ash? You told me. I have to stand up. You can't do it sitting down. It's hard. Hard to do that. Oh gosh. Okay.